If you're a millennial or an older Gen Z, you remember the Disney Channel wand, the glowing blue arc that meant magic was about to happen. That little flourish, drawn by your favorite stars, was more than just a logo. It was a signal that you were about to enter a world where anything was possible, where the ordinary became extraordinary, and where you felt like you belonged. For so many of us, it was a nightly ritual, a comforting routine that made the end of a long school day feel special. It was more than TV, it was the soundtrack to our lives, the inspiration for our fashion choices, the after-school ritual we looked forward to, and the sleepover staple that brought us together. The shows, the music, the catchphrases, they seeped into every part of our lives. We'd mimic the dances, quote the lines, and try to dress like our favorite characters. Disney Channel was the glue that held our friend groups together, the common ground we all shared, no matter how different we were. Disney Channel was the king of our world. It set the trends, launched the stars, and made us feel like we were part of something bigger. It was the place where dreams felt real and where every kid could imagine themselves as the next big thing. The channel didn't just entertain us, it shaped our childhoods and defined a generation, but then, almost without warning, the magic faded. The shows started to feel repetitive, the storylines less relatable, and the excitement that once filled the room began to disappear. The channel that once felt like home started to feel unfamiliar. The new shows didn't hit the same, and the stars felt less like friends and more like distant celebrities. The connection we once felt was slipping away, replaced by a sense of nostalgia for what used to be. Gen Z, especially the younger half, started looking elsewhere, first to other channels, then to their phones. The rise of YouTube, Vine, and eventually TikTok gave them content that felt more real, more immediate, and more in tune with their lives. Suddenly, the TV wasn't the center of the universe anymore. The cultural conversation moved from, "Did you see last night's episode?" to, "Did you see that TikTok?" Instead of waiting a week for the next episode, everything was instant, shareable, and endlessly scrollable. The way we consumed entertainment had changed forever. This wasn't just kids growing up, it was a generational shift. The very idea of what it meant to be entertained was evolving. Authenticity, relatability, and real-time interaction became more important than polished scripts and perfect sets. Disney Channel felt out of touch, still selling a polished fantasy to an audience craving authenticity. The glossy, idealized world that once drew us in now felt disconnected from the messy, real lives we were living. The magic formula just didn't work anymore. So, how did the ultimate tastemaker lose its grip? We're breaking down how the magic faded, why Gen Z tuned out, and what it means for the future of entertainment. The story of Disney Channel isn't just about TV, it's about how we all changed and how the things we love have to change with us. Buckle up, let's dive into the real story. This is more than nostalgia. It's a look at how an entire generation moved on, and what comes next for the magic makers of tomorrow. Let's rewind to the mid-2000s, the golden era of Disney Channel, a time when after-school routines revolved around catching the latest episode of your favorite show. Back then, Disney Channel wasn't just a TV network, it was the heartbeat of a generation, shaping pop culture and childhood memories in ways that still echo today. Lizzie McGuire, That's So Raven, Hannah Montana. These weren't just shows, they were cultural phenomena that defined an era. Each series brought something unique to the table, blending humor, heart, and just the right amount of drama to keep us hooked. They gave us catchphrases, fashion trends, and characters we saw ourselves in. Each show featured a relatable hero with a magical twist, whether it was Lizzie's animated alter ego, Raven's psychic visions, or the Russo family's secret wizardry. These stories made the ordinary feel extraordinary, letting us imagine that maybe, just maybe, we had a little magic in our own lives too. The stars, Miley, Selena, Demi, the Jonas Brothers, felt like friends we grew up with. We watched them on TV, listened to their music, followed their real-life journeys, and even tried to copy their hairstyles. Their rise to fame was our own, and their struggles felt personal. Disney's formula was flawless. Shows, music, movies, and a tidal wave of merch. It wasn't just content, it was a lifestyle. From backpacks to bedspreads, Disney Channel was everywhere, turning every fan into a walking billboard and every home into a mini Disneyland. The Disney Channel original movie was more than just a film, it was an event. High School Musical wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural reset, inspiring dance parties and sing-alongs in living rooms everywhere. Camp Rock and the Cheetah Girls made us believe we could chase our wildest dreams. No matter where we came from, these movies and shows created a shared experience, connecting millions of kids and teens across the world. It didn't matter where you lived. If you watched Disney Channel, you spoke the same language of inside jokes, theme songs, and cliffhangers. Disney didn't just make TV, it built a universe. It was a place you could escape to, a world where anything was possible and everyone belonged. The magic wasn't just on screen, it was in the friendships, the dreams, and the sense of belonging it inspired. The stories were grounded in friendship, identity, and finding your place in the world. They tackled real issues, family, fitting in, growing up, while always reminding us that we weren't alone. For nearly a decade, Disney Channel was in a league of its own, setting a bar so high it seemed untouchable. It was the gold standard for kid and teen entertainment, and every other network was just trying to keep up. It was a masterclass in brand building and audience connection. Disney knew exactly how to keep us coming back, blending nostalgia, innovation, and a deep understanding of what made us tick. But even the brightest empires can fade. The question is, why did Disney Channel's reign come to an end? What changed, and could anything ever take its place? The answers might surprise you. Enter Gen Z, a generation raised by the internet, not TV. They grew up with smartphones, infinite scrolling, and on-demand everything. Appointment TV, ancient history. Why wait for Disney when YouTube and Netflix are always on? Gen Z wanted to create and interact, not just watch. YouTubers felt real, relatable, and accessible. The fourth wall was gone. The audience became part of the show. Gen Z craved stories that reflected their diverse, complex world. Shows that tackled real issues, not just light-hearted problems. Authenticity became everything. The old Disney formula felt out of touch. Disney was still selling fairy tales to a generation exploring the real world. Disney Channel tried to adapt, but often felt a step behind. They mimicked online trends. Shows like Bizaardvark tried to capture YouTube's magic, even casting real internet stars. But these attempts felt sanitized and inauthentic, like explaining a meme in a textbook. Gen Z could tell the difference. Why watch a fake YouTuber when the real thing is a tap away? Disney updated its star-making formula, but few broke through like the old guard. Even critically praised shows like Andy Mack, with its groundbreaking storylines, couldn't reverse the decline. The audience was already scattered across apps and platforms. Disney's bold moves came too late. The arena was half empty. The shows improved, but the viewers had moved on. Disney was playing catch-up in a game that had already changed. The real story of Disney's fading influence isn't told by executives or critics. It's written in the words and experiences of Gen Z themselves, scattered across social media threads, comment sections, and group chats. These are the voices of a generation that grew up with Disney, but gradually found themselves drifting away, their reasons as varied as their personalities. For Maya, the magic that once made Disney feel special started to fade in middle school. She remembers how the shows she once adored suddenly felt too childish, out of sync with her growing interests. Netflix, on the other hand, offered her a world that felt more mature, more in tune with the complexities of teenage life. It wasn't just about cartoons and laugh tracks anymore, it was about stories that reflected her reality, her struggles, and her dreams. Liam's story echoes Maya's, but with a twist. He found himself rolling his eyes at Disney's predictable jokes and storylines that seemed stuck in a fantasy world. YouTube, with its endless stream of creators sharing real stories, opinions, and humor, felt raw and personal. It was a place where he could find content that spoke directly to him, not just to a generic idea of what kids should like. Sarah remembers the awkwardness of watching Disney try to mimic internet trends. The attempts to capture viral moments or meme culture felt forced, almost like watching a parent try to use slang. Instead of feeling seen, she felt misunderstood, as if the shows were always a step behind the real conversations happening online. The authenticity gap was impossible to ignore. Disney's content started to feel like it was crafted by adults in boardrooms, guessing at what kids might find cool rather than actually listening to them. The result, a disconnect that grew wider with every new show or movie that missed the mark. Meanwhile, the cultural conversation was happening elsewhere. Shows like Stranger Things, platforms like TikTok, and the endless variety of YouTube channels became the new gathering places for Gen Z. These were spaces where trends were born, where inside jokes and viral moments actually started, not just imitated. The latest Disney Channel movie? It barely registered. No one was talking about it at school, in group chats, or on social media. The excitement that once surrounded every new release had quietly faded away. This wasn't a dramatic breakup. There were no angry rants or viral boycotts. Instead, it was a slow, almost invisible shift. Attention drifted, screens glowed with new possibilities, and Disney became background noise to the real action happening on phones and laptops. Disney, once the undisputed gatekeeper of youth culture, found itself left behind. Its logo still flickered on TV screens, but the rooms were empty, the merchandise gathering dust. The brand that once defined childhood for millions was now just another option, no longer the center of the universe. For Gen Z, Disney became just one choice among many in a sea of infinite content. With so many platforms and creators to explore, loyalty faded, replaced by curiosity and the thrill of discovering something new every day. The magic didn't end with a bang, but with a quiet scroll away, a gentle, almost unnoticed goodbye as attention shifted to the next big thing. The audience had simply moved on, leaving behind a channel that once felt like home, now just another background image in the ever-changing landscape of Gen Z's digital world. As Disney Channel struggled, a new media trinity took over YouTube, Netflix, and TikTok. YouTube offered endless personalized content, creators for every niche, algorithmically tailored to you. Netflix revolutionized binge watching and wasn't afraid to go dark or complex, treating teens like adults. Disney's light-hearted fare felt simplistic by comparison. Then TikTok exploded, short, addictive, chaotic fun with trends spreading globally in hours. TikTok was interactive, creative, and relentless, perfect for short attention spans. Together, these platforms offered limitless choice, narrative depth, and user-driven chaos. Disney was still playing checkers while everyone else was playing 3D chess. The kingdom was conquered, not by one rival, but by a whole new way of experiencing media. The rules had changed, and Disney was left behind. The throne had new rulers. Disney's greatest strength, its polish, became its biggest weakness. Gen Z grew up online craving authenticity, not perfection. They wanted creators who were real, vulnerable, and relatable, not flawless, scripted stars. Disney's shows felt like ads for a life that didn't exist. Even when tackling real issues, Disney's approach felt filtered and safe. Other shows dove into messy realities. Disney stayed sanitized. The gap extended to its stars. Gen Z wanted unfiltered personalities, not media-trained role models. Zendaya thrived by breaking the mold, being authentic outside the Disney machine. Gen Z doesn't want manufactured perfection. They want real stories and real people. The glossy fantasy that once worked was now a liability. What's the lesson? Respect your audience. Gen Z is savvy and demands authenticity. Corporate versions of their culture won't cut it. The old model of a single dominant channel is over. The future is on-demand, interactive, and fragmented. Disney needs to create content that feels native to each platform, binge-worthy on Disney+, short-form on TikTok, behind the scenes on YouTube. Meet the audience where they are. Diversity and representation aren't optional. They're essential. Hire authentic voices, tell real stories, and make representation the standard. Embrace the mess. Let creators be raw, personal, and even a little chaotic. Flaws make characters relatable. The companies that succeed will trust real messy stories to win hearts. The future belongs to the authentic. Is this the end for Disney and teen entertainment? Not at all. It's a wake-up call, a chance to evolve. The future of teen media is a vibrant ecosystem, not a single channel. Companies must build worlds, not just shows. Interactive, participatory, and cross-platform. The next High School Musical might be a TikTok challenge, a web series, and a live event. Success will come from dozens of niche hits, not one massive show. The new monoculture is a mosaic of subcultures. The heart of teen entertainment remains, making young people feel seen. The next golden age will be more authentic, diverse, and exciting than ever. The next episode is about to begin.